Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to Lion Voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
I'm Nana Farika. The time has come for the lioness to tell her story from her viewpoint and tell the world who Queen Omega is. This is the lion's voice.
But then there was a delay, there was a sabotage, there was neo-colonialism, there was all these things that took place. Are we finally on the trajectory to destroy these stumbling blocks and to complete the job of the founding fathers of this great continent, both those at home and those abroad? We're going to talk about it. The fact that the soldier turned down the bribe is why I wanted to highlight this. This is what inspired this whole episode, because usually we have a sellout. We have the weak heart. You know, you have the Judas. You know what I mean? You have the man with sellout, Marcus Garvey. I mean, Black Panther Party, Malcolm X, the sellout them reign throughout our independence struggle. You know what I mean? You always have sellouts, Lumumba down in Congo. We always have the sellouts, but now we see young soldiers refusing money. And this is why I'm putting this in the context as well of African independent media, non-aligned media rising, because the young soldiers, the people who are fighting these wars, they're also consuming the content. So they are also now vested in this united Africa. The other reason I want to highlight these stories is to my Rastafari family. I don't hear the repatriation sound as strong as it was in the 70s, early 80s from our creatives. And just even when you reason with brethren and sistren, the survival seems like it has gotten so serious that we're not talking repatriation like we used to, with that zeal and that fervor when I first came into the movement. Now the item know I bought land in Ghana. I'll be returning to the continent this year, 2025, Roman calendar year. We have big announcements that we're going to be making. Lion Voice will be there, so the item will see the footage, exclusive interviews, you know, how we deal with the thing over here. So stay tuned for that. But I want to light a fire in the Rastafari family, because we are supposed to be at the tip of the spear, sounding the trumpet. You know, there should be no gathering and repatriation. I want you to listen to these African content creators, how they're talking about a united Africa and how them are blocked. These are not Rastafari people, but we should be at the tip of the spear, and that's why Rastafari independent non-aligned media is so important.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice. Yeah. Well, I just want to say the first of the Almighty. Well, this is the DEJAZMATCH KWASI. Well, I chanting for the black family for eternity. Then, time to fly. I don't care about your 9 to 5. Together we can soar across the sky. We not no more, give this love a try, no. Well, it's time to fly. Babylon cannot be satisfied. Together we can soar across the sky. Through the powers of the Trinity, here far right. And, well, then I can see you struggling. In a rubber Babylon, troubles them doubling. Every day you get up, every day you be hustling. Life is not a circus, tired of the juggling. Well, then it's time to rise. Tired of going to your 9 to 5. Every day you find yourself a fantasize about you and your king on the African sky. So then it's time to fly. I don't care about your 9 to 5. Together we can soar across the sky. We not no more, get this love a try, no. Time to fly. Babylon cannot be satisfied. Together we can soar across the sky. The powers of the Trinity, here far right then.
what do you have to tell the people about Rastafari?
Light to the world. The king of kings and the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. Elected himself. Where's my ruler? Hey yo! Yeah. Hail them high, hail the black king on the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just open them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them come without them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill. The lion will come conquer Judah tribe. Go through tribulation, and I strive, see sufferation, and I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come to tell them in a Toronto straight out. Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, EmpressMenen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the DEJAZMATCH Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of the Lion's Voice. Welcome to the Lion's Voice, and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own. Today's episode,
We are going to be addressing the tide that is sweeping Africa. This is our first
voice for the Roman calendar 2025. It's a new year in Babylon. Same focus for Africa, repatriation, the rise of Rastafari, independent, non-aligned media. But there are things that are unfolding that we have to cover here. So we have a beautiful episode tonight. We're going to be showing some video clips highlighting some of the African independent, non-aligned media that is rising on the
continent as well. Vloggers, bloggers,
creators from the continent that are telling the African story, and this is why I think we're starting to see some of the results that we're seeing on the continent. The information war is being lost by the colonial powers, and today we are going to talk about it. Has Africa turned a corner? Are we on an undeniable trajectory, accelerated trajectory, because we became independent?
We threw off the shackles. The Most High established the foundation right there in Addis Ababa. But then there was a delay, there was a sabotage, there was neo-colonialism, there was all these things that took place. Are we finally on the trajectory to destroy these stumbling blocks and to complete the job of the founding fathers of this great continent, both those at home and those abroad? We're going to talk about it today's episode, and I want to just give thanks to everyone. We are racing toward 20,000 subscribers. We're going to have some special things. We're going to talk about that during the housekeeping section. But let's jump straight into the topic. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Ghana, the gateway. We've been doing some shows on Ghana, but Ghana has just opened its borders for all Africans. That means if you have an African passport, you do not need a visa to enter Ghana. You can enter simply on your passport. It doesn't mean free water. You still have to go through customs, all of those things. But this is major because visas is basically almost like a tariff, because you have to pay fees to enter. This is going to open up travel within Africa. And again, Ghana setting an example. Ghana's not the first. You know, we have Rwanda, Seychelles, and other countries. I'm going to let the African content creator give the details. Big up Teresa Adido. We're going to feature her content today. I'll have a description where you can go and subscribe to the sister. And then we're also going to look at Pan-African Lifestyle Channel report on our second big story, which is another attempt to destabilize Burkina Faso and the young star leader Ibrahim Traore. And this time it was foiled. A soldier refused a bribe, which, you know, yes, there have been, I think, over 20 attempts to take out Ibrahim Traore. We know what they did with Fidel Castro in Cuba. They have not been successful, but the fact that the soldier turned down the bribe is why I wanted to highlight this. This is what inspired this whole episode, because usually we have a sellout. We have the weak heart. You know, you have the Judas. You know what I mean? You have the man with sellout Marcus Garvey. I mean, Black Panther Party, Malcolm X, the sellout them reign throughout our independence struggle. You know what I mean? You always have sellouts, Lumumba down in Congo. We always have the sellouts, but now we see young soldiers refusing money. And this is why I'm putting this in the context as well of African independent media, non-aligned media rising, because the young soldiers, the people who are fighting these wars, they're also consuming the content. So they are also now vested in this united Africa. And they're seeing the work that Ibrahim Traore is doing in terms of importing equipment, building factories. Big tomato paste factory inaugurated a month ago, and other opportunities that is rolling out. And they are refusing to take foreign money to sell out their leader. So we have to applaud this and shout it from the mountaintops. The other reason I want to highlight these stories is to my Rastafari family. I don't hear the repatriation sound as strong as it was in the 70s, early 80s from our creatives. And just even when you reason with brethren and sistren, the survival seems like it has gotten so serious that we're not talking repatriation like we used to, with that zeal and that fervor when I first came into the movement. Now the item know I bought land in Ghana. I'll be returning to the continent this year, 2025 Roman calendar year. We have big announcements that we're going to be making. Lion Voice will be there, so the item will see the footage, exclusive interviews, you know how we deal with the thing over here. So stay tuned for that. But I want to light a fire in the Rastafari family, because we are supposed to be at the tip of the spear, sounding the trumpet. You know, there should be no gathering and repatriation. I want you to listen to these African content creators, how they're talking about a united Africa and how them are blocked. These are not Rastafari people, but we should be at the tip of the spear, and that's why Rastafari independent non-aligned media is so important, that we support not just the Lion Voice network, but I call names all of the time. Honorable Priest Isaac, Ija Star, Honorable Priest Kailash, so many Yard Real, Breadlocks, iYard Radio, Muta Baruka, Sister Denise Isis Miller, Best FM, all of those programs over there, Best FM itself, which is Rastafari own radio station in Jamaica. I can keep going, and when you start calling them, you leave out people, so I don't want to do that. But we need to be financing all of these personalities. Some of them are not on independent platforms, but they're independent thinkers who have carved the space for themselves on these platforms. But we need to support these ones with our dollars. Our liberation has to be funded, and we'll get to that in housekeeping. But this is why I'm saying, because these soldiers, when they're on leave, you don't think they're on their phone scrolling, looking at YouTube shorts, looking at different things, and they're seeing the praise and the great work of Ibrahim Traore, and now they're refusing to sell out their leader. They're refusing to become weak hearts. We're gonna do an episode on the weak heart and why the weak heart is so dangerous. The wicked and the weak heart are our two biggest enemies. The wicked is just intentionally wicked. Him have an intent, but the weak heart is dangerous because he doesn't have the fortitude to stand up for anything, and so he's bended and molded to the whim of the wicked. And our movements predominantly have been dismantled by the weak hearts, the sellouts. If you're a drug dealer selling crack in the 80s, you were a weak heart, a sellout, because you took money, you took chemicals, from foreigners, rich foreigners, to destroy your community. That doesn't mean you can't redeem yourself and, rise. I'm not saying that. Redemption is there. But we have to start to identify these people in our community so we know how to deal with them. And particularly as a Rastafari man in our Rastafari man standard, you cannot befriend a weak heart, or you cannot keep weak hearts around you. The weak heart, you have to let them go. That doesn't mean that, as I say, redemption is not there, but they will damage your operation if you allow a weak heart to be around the operation. Because again, Lumumba, we can go through the whole lineage. Even Peter, if you look at the biblical narrative, was a weak heart. Sell out Yeshua in them time there. And we're going to be doing a special episode for Ghana, so stay tuned for that announcement. Big up Honorable Priest Kez, Haile, Mikael. Another banger episode. We had his daughter Titota. Man, what the whole Rastafari family just smile and proud, from Cape to Cairo, from River Nile to Tim, across the globe. We just smile when we see the young princess articulate herself. And
all right, so blessings again. Thank you for having me on tonight. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and talk about my church, about the culture, about how I was raised. I never passed up the opportunity to talk about it, so I'm glad that we even have this platform for us to be able to do this. So yes, my name is Titota. My baptismal name in the church is Tim Ketwengelawit. Oftentimes, how I even start discussions about the church is with my name, because it is an Amharic name, African name, and so somebody find out my name and they're like, "What that mean?" And I'm like, "He's from Ghana." And I'm like, "In what language?" I say, "Amharic," and then we start talking about Amharic coming from Ethiopia, and then you go into the church. You know what I mean? So I was baptized in the church when I was a baby, grew up in it, going consistently, and I've never like felt a need to stray, in a sense, from my church. Of course, as any other youth, you have a little struggle sometimes with, a relationship with God. But my church has been a foundation for I life, especially because my parents, we don't just go to church on Sunday and then we come home and it's back to normal. The same reverence that we show in church is something that is a ritual. Like every morning we're going somewhere, we pray, we observe the fast. We don't just do things for show or just to say that we're doing it as a habit of being an Orthodox person. It's in our lifestyle, through our diet. We're vegan 24/7. I've been vegan since the day I was born. So those little things remind me of the principles of my church. And it's very evident as I said earlier, I talk about it quite a lot. Everyone who knows me, I was telling my mom one day that everyone that is I'm pretty sure that everyone that is in my year group at my school, because I am in grade 12, about to graduate this year. And so everyone that is in my grade knows about the Orthodox Church, and that is something that I am proud of, because it's like a form of evangelism, but then I'm hearing it through me debating me debating in RE class, or me like using it as an example in literature. Just little tidbits for the 7 years I've been at that school. Some people have heard about it. So yes, I'm grateful for the influence, and I'm grateful that I have opportunities like this to talk about it and teach other people about it.
It inspired I. So you're gonna be seeing. I'm opening up the platform to our young entrepreneurs. So you'll start seeing this year commercials from different Rastafari youths from across the globe. If you have a Rastafari youth with a product or service that you think can be serviced by a global market, you know, where people can order the product or support the young person, reach out to I, and they will have to create a commercial. And maybe we can do a competition and vote which is the best commercial. But we want to start encouraging our young people and having outlets for them. This is, again, the importance of why Rising Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media is so important. So we're going to have all of that happening. So much is going to unfold on this platform this year. So I want the items, stay tuned. But before we go into looking at the videos from these African content creators to hear about the stories, the soldier refusing the bribe and the Ghana opening their borders. We're going to watch 2 videos on those 2 specific things. Before we do that, I want to set the tone. We're going to read a speech of His Imperial Majesty to the Accra conference, and we're going to see the prophetic. This could have been written yesterday. This could have been uttered yesterday, and we're going to see the timeless nature. And the item will get to understand why it is on this platform that we are pushing the teaching of His Majesty. Haile Selassie have to be the head of this movement. There are so many opinions out there. People have their different doctrine. I don't peace with His Majesty word sound. I take the teaching fully. So that is what you can expect on this platform. We can reason around the parameters and this and that, and come to a greater understanding, because again, I always say His Majesty speak very general. And he enlightens a lot of things. You know, His Majesty awarded J.A. Rogers. So he might not talk about the African origin of the Hebrew or the Sumerians, but he, in his action, do things to let you know. I know them thing that far right sons and daughters. When I award the Jamaican historian J.A. Rogers, who are right about these things within that timing, may I show you, say, me up to date. You know what I mean? But remember, he's the father of the whole world. The whole earth, he look at his children. And so, you know what I mean? Some of us are puzzled by how he interact with the Europeans, and, you know, causing even some of us to say that he is a sellout. But you have to remember, when a father is dealing with their children, the compassion that they have is going to be enormous. And you're not going to understand it if you're not the parent of those children. We don't look at Europeans them way they Ethiopians look at themselves as fathers and mothers of whole creation. So them treat the European in a particular way. And we just have to get used to it and know that that is how His Majesty is. He's looking at the whole picture, bringing the whole world into oneness. And, you know what I mean, that is a, you know, sometimes it goes beyond our individual pay grade. We need to just focus on getting our communities together so we can fit into the whole. And we're going to find out today that the intent of His Majesty for Africa's unity is not just for Africa's sake, but to preserve the whole earth. I talk about World War III here. His Majesty calls it the third Holocaust. How Africa's rising is to really help to prevent this third Holocaust. Because guess what? When the world see Africa united, the developments, Zion on earth manifesting, African culture. Remember, what culture runs the world? Black culture runs the world. So the young people will refuse, just like how you have the young people refusing to take bribes in Burkina Faso. I mean, we're seeing it even in Ukraine. You have soldiers, young people who are refusing to fight the war. They're deserting. in massive numbers, never before seen. Some people saying up to 200,000, young people have deserted, or young men, most of them young men have deserted the battlefield because they're saying we're not dying for these wars, we don't believe in these wars. And this is the hope for humanity, is the young people. And African culture, we got to turn the world away from war as a means to settle political disputes. The European, they are full 100 into plunging the earth into darkness. The European powers, the colonial powers led by G7, they are full speed into this. The global south is trying to navigate away from war because we have not tasted the fruits of the development that the developed nations have had. We just want to get there. So Africa's uprising, again, is not just for Africa, and His Majesty says this in 1958, shortly after the independence of Ghana. So let's go to this speech to frame this whole reasoning, and then we'll come forward into the African vloggers and see how Africa independent media is shaping the narratives, and also ask the question to the Lion Pride, is the tide turning? All right, so this is His Majesty's speech to the Accra conference. All right, we're going to read from His Majesty's speech to the Accra conference. This speech took place shortly after the independence of Ghana, April 15th, 1958. This was one of the seminal gatherings. His Majesty didn't attend in person. He sent his son to deliver the remarks. But these are very prophetic and profound remarks, and we need to know this one on the table of our hearts. So you're going to hear this speech a lot on this platform, particularly this year. So get used to it. I'm going to read from the section that says On the Side of Peace. This is page 190 from the selected speeches. Glory to Word, Son, and Power, the Most High, Kadama, Haile, Selassie the First. So he says, on the side of peace. However, as man's capacity to improve his own lot has grown, so has his power to spread havoc and destruction correspondingly increased. The independent African states must assure that the growing weight of Africa is enlisted on the side of peace and justice to the end of avoiding a third Holocaust, which could well engulf the entire world and result in the destruction of mankind. So, for those who interpret His Majesty Africa Armageddon as past, as we don't have to worry about what's happening in the rest of the world and we have no part to play. Yes, this speech predates that utterance, but again, I've done a deep dive into the context of those remarks, and it was talking about what Africa particularly had been through and not referring to the rest of the world. So you see, His Majesty was very concerned with World War III and this third Holocaust, which is unfolding, and he says that Africa must ensure that the growing weight is enlisted on the side of peace and justice. So what you see happening now is really for us to leverage what's happening in the Sahel states, with Ghana, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, all of this uprising, Chad, we're going to talk about them all this year. It's to really unify and then use Africa's example to show mankind the path to peace, and that war is a waste of time because the European-led global order is heading the world to destruction, and I think that's an observable fact at this point. All right, let's continue. It says, but dwarfing even man's material achievements in the 20th century has been the emergence of people all over the world into freedom and independence. Today, for the first time, men everywhere to whom freedom and independence were, but a short time ago, only words, and for whom economic and political self-determination where no more than far distant goals have achieved the status of free men and are directing their efforts and energies to their own advancement. Now tell me, doesn't this apply to the Sahel states, to the states that are telling the colonial armies to go home? We want control over our resources. This is happening. So the tide that swept Africa was delayed but could not be prevented. It couldn't be held back. And now it has burst through its bank and the tide is sweeping. So this is the part that every Rastafari to the four corners of the earth should know from this speech. This is the prophecy and why we proudly call His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, the father of Africa. He says, "We are particularly gratified and proud that this development have been so marked and widespread on the great continent of Africa." Listen to this. Africa will no longer be the unknown continent, for its human and material resources are beyond measure. And this great continent now stands on the verge of an economic, political, and cultural development which, when realized, will be without parallel in history. Okay, so a regular human being saying this is one thing, but when His Majesty talks about without parallel in history, His Majesty know about Atlantis, he read about Kemet, he know about Great Zimbabwe, he know about all of the Sumerian, Kushite empires, Great Babylon. He's saying that Africa's development, when realized, would be without parallel in history. This is what we work toward. This is what we fight for. This is why Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media will make sure the world does not forget these words. Mighty. What a speech. Again, you're going to hear that often on this channel because that's the prophecy. That's the building of Zion that we talk about without parallel. Remember that. When we talk about the building of Zion, we settle for nothing less than excellence. And remember also in his speech to the United Nations on October 6, 1963, he said, "Peace is not a is, it's a becoming," meaning that Zion is not a static. It doesn't mean we build this and then this is Zion and that is it. No, Zion will always evolve. There's no limitation into development, the creative mind, but we're going to put an end to abject poverty. All of those things that are born out of hell and darkness will be erased because there's no need for that. Just because you don't have a lot of capital doesn't mean you have to live in squalor. You can have beautiful accommodation using Mother Nature. And this is what we're talking about when we talk to Life Yard, ghettos to gardens, garrisons to gardens, slums to gardens, the movement that we will be taking on to the continent to transform the slums. This is part of the Rastafari way of life into urban agriculture oasis. This is part of the Rastafari vision for the future. Big up everyone. The New Year special has crossed over 1,000 views. Powerful reasoning with Dr. Kadamawe Knife, Rasta Boki, Empress Tiana of Life Yard, about the future of Rastafari. If you have not seen it, take it in.
When you look at Earth and how Earth is, a lot of youths have a whole heap of distraction, not by chance, not by coincidence. And the system itself, Rome, know who these youths are. It's not like people who just think that every day things just happen on its own. People plan, people strategize. So I tell a man say post before 2000, 2012, we're still strong in our belief age. Seeing? Well, there's a transition period. We're moving from a belief age to a knowing age, from a Piscean age to a Aquarian age. Similar like how Rastafari say Rastafari don't believe Rastafari know. So this is the generation of Noahs. So in my own Irish, these are the generations of Rastafari youth who are manifest Rastafari in so many different ways. Because Rastafari is not something that can be defined, so it's not doctrine, it's not rituals. You have Rastafari ones who are religious. Rastafari is not a religion. Seeing it's free irits and self-actualization. And if it's the OIS reasons, she shows yeah man in her try to finding herself, she don't think she don't want to live no other live. because she finds herself and I enjoy being who she is as an individual being, where I follow her own iris and in her own trad. And you know, Sabuki them for long I was man from the change to art program them no. And the ones them man eyeball manifest them works and them continue and that trad same way. And Sabuki you know a strong influence of Rastafari from ancient to same way and how them youth are grow. Seeing so why I said it's positive. Because even the youth them who I feel say a stray away. I engage with them youth at the university fire. Them on a far right, you know. But I can't see the far right Irish. The challenge is that say my generation now we are going to space. It's like we have betrayed the people them I tell the eye that. See, because I remember say all our parliamentarians and I budge them. Andrew Holness were prime minister and I go up on campus the same way, you know. And majority of the youth in parliament below females have been a junior up on the campus. And so we know say we know what we know. 60% of the youth in the university come from underserved communities. So it's not like we don't understand what we're supposed to do. Seeing? But it seems like the man them abandon them own Jamaicanness and them own uniqueness. And so them don't accept who them be. None of these youths stand in the boards that make decisions about them lives. The people like I sit down on the board. So as pastors I tell you, boy, you can't blame the youth. You can't really blame the youth because these youths feel the effect from causes that I initiate as ancient. Now we know so if the head of the stream dirty, we know what's going on with the bottom of the stream. So the youth them must struggle.
Mighty. Again, so we're gonna go now to see how the African content creators are reporting on this uprising, and then we're going to ask the question: Has Africa turned the corner, or is Africa turning the corner? And as Rastafari, as Pan-African throughout the four corners, have you identified your purpose? This is why purpose is so important right now, particularly for the young men. What is the role you're going to play in this uprising? If you're not sure, you need to lock it in. Before we play the videos, let me do some housekeeping and big up the Lion Pride. If you subscribe, you are part of the Lion Pride, and the Lion Pride right now is over 19,600 fire angels around the planet. We are racing toward 20,000 subscribers. We're going to do a special 20,000 subscriber episode just like we did for 10,000, where we invite the Lion Pride. We're going to go live next Saturday, so we won't have a Lion Voice next Saturday. We're going to do a live broadcast and open up the phone, so be prepared. Set your notification tab. We'll have some special guests come through and reason with the family as always. But we're going to open it up, so if you're in the Lion Pride around the world, this is your chance. Whatever you're doing, product or service, come in, drop by, bless us up. We're going to put the link in the chat so you can just jump on to the StreamYard and we just have a gathering and we celebrate. Anytime we reach a 10,000 subscriber milestone, we do that. So big up all of the Lion Pride. Big up the Lion Pride on Patreon. We are at around, I think, 24, 25 people in the Patreon. And, we give thanks for their contribution. They have stayed with I through ups and downs. Some leave and then they come forward when the money is right. But those, we have reached a stage where we don't have to come out of the pocket to pay all of the subscriptions that keep this operation running because of those Lion Pride on Patreon. And that helps to make this operation sustainable, because any king man know, particularly if you have a wife, if you are taking from the family resources to pursue your purpose and it's not bringing in a return, how long are you going to be able to do that? So the fact that the Lion Pride on Patreon is helping us to defer the cost so that there's no out of pocket, it helps to make sure I can stay consistent. But it's not enough, because we're not trying to just stay here 30 years from now from my living room talking to the item. No, we want a production studio. We want to be doing animation. We want to be doing feature films. We want to be doing the whole works from a Rastafari worldview. So we need the item strength. So I can't blame my audience because the item have not joined the Patreon. I have to look to myself and say, what can I do to entice? And what I have decided is for everyone who signs up, the first 100 people in the Patreon, and this applies for those who are in the Patreon already. So this applies to the item as well. The first 100 people in this Patreon, well, to sign up, you have to sign up over $10 or over. I'm gonna allow the item to get free consultation, creative consultations from as part of your benefit. So that means you can message me once you sign up and you're at the $10 a month or above level. You can reach out through the Patreon, schedule a time, and we'll set up. Reason you let me know what you have going on, and I will help you. So having someone like myself on your team, we'll work out the parameters, the frequency. I cannot be daily, on call, but we'll work out something so that you get that advice. Because what I realize a lot of times, we just don't have the right people around us. We don't have a positive sound. We don't have that sounding board, and not only just a sounding board, but the sounding board with someone who has some knowledge that can help us. You know what I mean? Because yes, I can sound board with you, but if you don't have the knowledge, how can you help? There's a lot of ones who need to be doing content creation. The item can see by the success of this platform, I kind of know what I'm doing. So the item can have I as a resource. And again, we're building the proof of concept in front of your face. So the item I've seen, I go from less than 100 subscribers to over 19,000. Now averaging over 1,000 subscribers per strong. We're back up. We slowed down for a while, but now we're, I think, over 1,000 per strong. You know what I mean? And consistent. We've been at this rate for some while, which shows that we have reached a certain level of overstanding of the platform. We're getting ready for turning another gear this year. I just want the item know my queen, taking courses. I'm on, the youths are going to be getting more involved behind the scenes this year as well. This is a family business. So we know what we're doing. And again, for those who are in the Patreon above the $10 level, for a limited time, that means the first 100 will get this. I will offer myself as free consultation to help the item to grow, to structure, to think about what you're doing. If you need help with identifying your purpose, just someone to let you know, why don't you try this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? You know what I mean? And we also have resources, if it's appropriate, that we can connect you with as well. I'm going to be doing the creative ecosystem overview in the Patreon as well, exclusive content. We have the purpose over that, something there for young men who are trying to get themselves together and get motivated. We have that content also exclusively in the Patreon. So we're going to be working on the content exclusive to the paid Patreon. To my free Patreon, we are going to be doing our podcast. So if you're not a part of the free Patreon, you can join for free. So at least we have your email. We're going to be pushing the email very much because we need a direct line. We cannot depend on YouTube. So if you don't have the if you're not part of our email list, make sure you can subscribe on our website below, or you can go right here and subscribe on the website, or you can sign up on Patreon for free. And we're going to be doing at least a monthly newsletter that will keep you posted. And we're going to also have the podcast, the Patreon podcast, where we just go a little bit more into the behind the scenes of keeping this running and just talk a little bit more directly to the inner circle. So make sure you sign up for the email and big up. Also, we have the Ubuntu Lion Pride. If you can only do a one-time attribution, $70 and above. And you can become part of the Ubuntu Lion Pride. Big up the Myers family that just joined my brethren, Bingy Sean. Um, we are going to be doing some more things, big announcements coming out from Habesha this year, that we're going to be sharing, that we'll be covering through the Lion Voice Network. So stay tuned for that. But it's a perfect thing for families, for businesses. Nick Nakos has his business represented as the Ubuntu Lion Pride. He also joined the Lion Pride on Patreon. So you can join both. You can be a part of the Ubuntu Lion Pride to get that, your business, and then you can join the Patreon and just support monthly. Big up Nick Nakos for that. But there are others who, just maybe can't do the monthly, but they want to show their support and love. The Ubuntu Lion Pride is for the item $70 US and above, and that's permanent, one time, and you'll be there as part of the history of the uprising of Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media. If you don't have a dollar to give right now because you're struggling, you can't even afford a cup of coffee to give to your brethren, because $5 a month, if you can't afford that, family, I don't know if you tell you. But if you can't, you are part of the Action Lion Pride, or you say, boy, that Rasta don't deserve no support from I. So what if he has over 900 pieces of content and has been consistent now going on 3 years on the internet, informing us and bringing us, names from the Rastafari, prominent ones from the Rastafari. Who cares? Why should I support him? If you're in that category, but you still love the vibration, you can become part of the Action Lion Pride simply by commenting, sharing, liking the video, booting the algorithm. And this is our biggest area of support. These are the ones who have pushed us rapidly to 20,000. So I big up the Action Lion Pride every day. I encourage the item to elevate your support to the Ubuntu or the Patreon, but trust me, I don't appreciate the item any less, because I see the numbers of who's sharing, comments are coming in much more rapid now, as we mature and the ecosystem, becomes mature. And the level of comments is what I love. It's high level reads, not no attack, name calling, foolishness. You know what I mean? It's people with information, even if they disagree, respectful. That's what we want here. So big up the Action Lion Pride. Don't think for a second I don't see the item and I don't love the item, because we couldn't do it without the item. Showing that there is a demand for this. You know what I mean? Finally, big up the Watch and Peep. We had over 35,000 unique viewers. So way more viewers than subscribers. In the last 28 days, 35,000. So it's humbling that 35 different and unique viewers means not people coming back. So when you look at overall views, we're way over 40,000 overall views. I think we're like close to 45,000 overall views. But in terms of unique viewers, that means that is an individual, it's not the same person coming and looking at different things. 35,000, that's a milestone for us. So big up the watchers, you know what I mean? Everybody who watch, the watchers in the Lion Pride, that means those people who watch when they're subscribed, because to be part of the Lion Pride, you have to subscribe. So big up the watchers in the Lion Pride. Big up the peepers, the bad mind, grudgeful, don't like when me I talk about why you keep talking about the speeches of His Majesty. We don't need that. You know what I mean? Them does hate I. Big them up same way, because positivity we are deal with. And if you don't have haters or bad mind, as Jamaica call them, what are you doing? His Majesty himself had them. Yeshua had them. There's no great man upon the face of this earth who didn't have the peepers. They're peeping and doing what them do. So just big them up, because they play their role in the ecosystem. They can't harm I. Who the Almighty bless, they cannot curse. You know what I mean? So big them up, and let's pray for them that they find healing and that they are able to, gravitate to more positive use of their time. You know what I mean? That is what we do with the peepers. But that is the Lion Pride on Patreon. And finally, We are going to do a special interview for the 20,000. You know, every 10,000 we try bring a special guest. We did Muta Baruka for the 10,000, for the 20,000, no different. Already recorded, so get ready for that. See if you can guess who the guest is for the 20,000. But that will be coming to the IDM sometime next strong after we cross the 20,000 subscriber mark. So we're here working hard for the IDM behind the scenes. So support the platform. We need to hire an editor to keep up. If you have not seen your episode you have recorded, because ones are reaching out, when are you going to drop my episode, family? Just know that be patient. I have content from 2023 I still haven't released yet. You know what I mean? So we have a huge inventory of content. I don't stop. I do interviews every strong, and I don't stop just in case anything happen and we're not able. We still can be putting out content. You know what I mean? So that's how I work. And you know, if we had the funding, we could hire editors and we can increase the rate of content on the platform and do more interesting things. One of the things that we want to do is to have correspondents in different regions that are bringing the news from a Rastafari perspective, covering Rastafari activities, events, and I'm working on that. You know, I've identified some sistren, so stay tuned for that as well. But again, we want to be able to pay people. So that starts with the item support. So um, give thanks, Ramia King Design, you don't know Ras LIDJ, early supporter. CMOS Life, Brethren Ras Woolley did the logo for the Lion Voice Network, and a lot of work. We'll probably be coming up with a Lion Voice Network website this year as well, splitting it off from the DEJAZMATCH website. And that's the thing with the ecosystem. You know, the ecosystem have different aspects, and as they grow, you want to give them their own wing, you know, and you know, it might even become its own company for the liability protection. All of these things. So all of these things we'll talk about in the Patreon on the consultation side. So creative consultations again for the first 100 people in the Patreon. And we move the goal. So 100 people by March 1st in the Patreon by Badla Adawa, moving out the goal. I told them we would talk about the failure. I did talk about it on the live and on the New Year's Day special. I mentioned it. I did fail reaching 100 people in the Patreon, but again, that's part of the journey. So don't fear failure, brethren. We have been called to lead the Rastafari family in this Iowa, and failure is going to be a part of that journey. Embrace it. We failed to meet the 100. We almost doubled our goal in terms of subscribers. Our goal was 10,000 by January 1st. We crossed January morning with 19,000. So some you're going to win, some you're going to fail, some you're going to barely get through, some you're going to smash and conquer and exceed. So that's just a part of the journey once you stay diligent. So big up everyone, and let's get forward into the topic. All right, housekeeping out of the way. Let's go into this first video. This is from African content creator named Teresa Adido, talking about Ghana opening its borders. Revolutionary. One Africa is happening, family, and I just want to make sure that we're up to speed. Subscribe to the sister and let her know that the Lion Voice sent the eye. It's a smaller channel than I, but I was there, you know, last year. So, you know, we know and we want to help support and encourage our African brethren and sisters to continue to make content so that we can hear what's happening from an African voice. I love hearing African accents and hearing Mama Africa speak for herself. And the love that they express for the diaspora, for their other African brothers and sisters, is what makes it special. So let's check out this video and we'll come forward.
Breaking news out of Africa. Ghana, the land of gold, culture and rich history, has announced a groundbreaking visa-free travel policy for all Africans. This monumental decision, set to take effect in early 2025, positions Ghana as the 5th African country to open its borders to all holders of African passports. What does this mean for Africa and its people? Stay tuned as we dive deep into this historic move and its implications. But before we do so, you are welcome and welcome back to this channel. I'm Teresa, and you can consider subscribing. Don't forget to turn on post notification, because that will notify you whenever we drop new content on this channel. Also, don't forget to like, comment and share. So with this policy, Ghana joins the ranks of Seychelles, Benin, Rwanda and the Gambia, nations that have paved the way towards an Africa without borders. For decades, Africans have dreamed of a continent where freedom of movement is a reality, a dream that Ghana's bold step brings closer to fruition. Freedom of movement is not just about travel, it symbolizes unity, economic integration, and an opportunity for millions of Africans to explore the vast opportunities our continent holds. Ghana's move is a clear signal to the rest of the world. Africa is on the rise. So if you ask me what I think about the visa-free travel policy Ghana is implementing, I think it's amazing. It shows that Ghana is taking a leadership role in uniting Africa. This is what Kwame Nkrumah would have wanted. It will help our economy and tourism. People from across Africa will now see what Ghana has to offer. From the pyramids of Egypt to the savannas of Kenya, and from the bustling streets of Lagos to the serene beaches of Seychelles, Africa is a continent like no other. But until now, visa restrictions have made it difficult for Africans to exploit the treasures within their borders. Experts project that Ghana's visa-free policy will significantly boost the country. Increased intra-African tourism and trade could create thousands of jobs and foster strong ties among African nations. Kotoka International Airport, already a major hub for West Africa, is set to become even busier. Airlines are gearing up for a surge in travelers eager to experience Ghana's rich culture and heritage. One of Ghana's biggest draws is its culture. From the vibrant kente clothes to the rhythmic beat of highlife music, Ghana offers a cultural experience like no other. Now, more Africans can experience this firsthand. History also plays a big role in Ghana's appeal. Sites like the Cape Coast Castle and Kakum National Park tell stories of resilience, struggle and triumph. Ghana is not the first to implement such a policy. Seychelles has long allowed visa-free access, helping it become a tourism powerhouse. Rwanda, with its open borders, has fostered innovation and business growth. Ghana is poised to replicate these successes. This policy aligns with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which aims to create the world's largest free trade area. Visa-free travel will make it easier for entrepreneurs and businesses to thrive across borders. While the benefits are clear, challenges remain. Issues like border security and resource allocation will need to be addressed, but Ghana is determined to make this policy a success. This policy is a step towards unity. We are stronger together as Africans. And could this be the beginning of a borderless Africa? Ghana's move could inspire other nations to follow suit, creating a ripple effect across the continent. And this is not just about Ghana, it's about Africa. We are one people and our destinies are intertwined. Let this policy be a beacon of unity for the entire continent. Beyond tourism, Ghana's tech industry stands to benefit. With easier movement, talent from across Africa can contribute to Ghana's growing innovation sector. The African Union has long advocated for freedom of movement. Ghana's policy is a step towards realizing the AU's Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. Ghana's landscapes, from lush forests to pristine beaches, are ready to welcome travelers from all over Africa. Imagine the connections and friendships that will form. This policy will bring more customers and create opportunities. It's a win-win for everyone. Young Africans will now have more opportunities to collaborate across borders. From music to technology, the possibilities are endless. Ghana's government is ensuring a smooth rollout of the policy with investments in infrastructure and security measures to support the influx of travelers. This move could also encourage members of the diaspora to reconnect with their roots, fostering a deeper connection to the continent. Europe's Schengen area has shown how open borders can transform a region. Africa can achieve the same, starting with countries like Ghana leading the way. Visa-free travel will promote cultural exchanges, allowing Africans to learn more about each other's traditions and lifestyles. Kwame Nkrumah envisioned a united Africa, Policies like this are steps toward making his vision a reality. Ghana's history as the first sub-Saharan country to gain independence makes this move even more significant. Once again, Ghana is leading by example. This policy will make it easier for entrepreneurs to expand their business to Ghana. It's a game changer. And Ghana's free visa policy is not just about travel, it's about unity, opportunity, and the future of a continent ready to embrace its potential. So what do you think about Ghana's bold move? Could your country be next? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on Africa's journey to unity.
Mighty. So you can see the tide is sweeping. What are your comments on the video? Let us know down below. Do you think this is a revolutionary move? This is by the outgoing government, by the way. The incoming government has already signaled that they will be working more closely with the Sahel, with Burkina Faso and all of those governments. So there are major things happening. Also, I just want to mention, before we get into the next clip, because it's going to be relevant to the next clip, that the wave of expelling foreign troops from the continent has begun, or at least Western G7 troops has begun. Ivory Coast just announced January 1st, they want the French troops out by end of the month. Get out! You know what I mean? That is the vibration. Chad announced French troops have to come out. Of course, you know, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. Senegal has also announced French troops have to come out. So this is a sweeping tide. But, you know, that in itself would be something to talk about. But the next story from the Pan-African Lifestyle channel, go check them out. They're a big channel. But go and subscribe to keep up to date. As they explain in this, is that Burkina Faso, the people are behind Ibrahim Traore. And, you know what I mean, have we entered the era of the end of the sellout? Is the weak heart reign coming to an end, where soldiers who are not making a lot of money can turn down billions of francophone money, dirty money, for a cause? Have we reached a turning point? Let's watch this story and then we'll talk about it.
In a recent high-stakes operation, Burkina Faso's defense and security forces uncovered and thwarted a destabilization plot valued at an astonishing 5 billion CFA francs. The scheme, designed to create chaos and undermine the government, involved paying soldiers an enormous sum in exchange for actions aimed at destabilizing the country. However, loyal troops strategically played along with the conspirators' plan, gathering evidence and waiting for the opportune moment to apprehend him. Security forces finally cornered the suspect, catching him with suitcases packed with banknotes. This episode resembles a scene from a suspenseful thriller, the persistent threats that President Ibrahim Traore faces in his mission to restore stability to Burkina Faso. The attempted bribe is far from the first destabilization effort directed at Ibrahim Traore's administration. Since coming to power, Traore has been the target of numerous coups and conspiracies, orchestrated by those with dark motives to disrupt the nation's progress. These plots aim to create instability, as certain elements within and outside Burkina Faso view Traore's reforms as a direct threat to their interests. The scale of these plots, and the high-profile attempt thwarted yesterday, reveal the determination of Traore's enemies and the lengths to which they are willing to go to eliminate him. From large-scale bribery to assassination attempts, Ibrahim Traore has narrowly evaded repeated assaults on his life, thanks in large part to loyalists within the defense and security forces who have remained steadfast in their commitment to his vision. This latest incident is a striking example of how nefarious forces attempt to influence soldiers with promises of massive financial rewards. In this case, the plotters' plan was to mobilize soldiers against Ibrahim Traore in exchange for billions of CFA francs, a staggering amount that underscores the seriousness of the destabilization efforts. Fortunately, the soldiers, acting on orders from higher command, accepted the deal only as part of a well-coordinated trap. Their loyalty to Ibrahim Traoré and Burkina Faso's future was never in question. When the time came, the suspect was apprehended, exposing the depth of the conspiracy. This arrest, along with the seizure of the funds, would allow the government to trace the money's origins and unmask those behind the plot to overthrow Traoré's administration. President Ibrahim Traoré has been unyielding in his commitment to safeguard Burkina Faso against such subversive forces. Since taking office, he has implemented sweeping reforms aimed at strengthening the nation's security and restoring order in regions previously afflicted by insurgency. Yet his assertive approach has made him a target of frequent coup attempts. Numerous factions, both domestic and foreign, have viewed Traoré's leadership as a threat to the old order and are increasingly desperate to halt his progress by any means necessary. These factions use financial incentives to recruit allies in their bid to depose Ibrahim Traoré, further highlighting the scale of resistance he faces. The intercepted plot also highlights a crucial aspect of Traoré's strategy: building a robust and loyal defense force that prioritizes the nation's welfare above all else. Ibrahim Traoré understands the critical role of his soldiers in defending against not only external enemies, but also internal threats from those who would exploit instability for their own gain. This incident reaffirms his belief in a defense and security force that cannot be swayed by money, a force that will stand firm with him as he leads Burkina Faso through this turbulent period. Although yesterday's operation was successful, Traoré and his team remain vigilant, recognizing that the forces against them will not easily relent. Ibrahim Traoré knows that each victory against these subversive elements strengthens his resolve and bolsters the public's confidence in his leadership. For the people of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré has become a symbol of resilience and hope, a leader undeterred by the repeated coup attempts that threaten his life and his mission. His administration is a powerful reminder that Burkina Faso is committed to justice and stability, and that no amount of bribery or conspiracy can undermine the collective will of the nation under his leadership.
Mighty. So you can see, and again, I'm asking the Lion Pride, let's have the reasoning. Have we reached a turning point? Are we seeing, or will there be more stumbling blocks? As Mansi said, Africa Armageddon has passed. He also says that Africa's unity and strength must be leveraged to help us to prevent this third Holocaust, which could threaten to destroy mankind. I can tell the item here, you know, we are ahead of the curve here on the Lion Voice Network. We were chanting about World War III before America started launching missiles into Russia. We had called World War III from a long time before the hot war actually started. Now we have gone back into a Cold War, a G7 against BRICS. I don't know if the item saw the 9/11 style attacks that happened in Kazan in Russia, where they were flying drones into the side of buildings. That is where the BRICS summit happened. So this is to show you the symbology. They're saying this multipolar world that you are trying to rise will not happen. We will remain the unipower. So if for those who, you know, are again saying World War III has begun, we don't watch that, because remember, everything starts spiritual and then it manifests physical. World War III is in full swing. It's a Cold War right now, meaning a proxy war. We have battlefronts all over creation that are springing up. We saw the collapse of Syria, other fronts. Yemen, you see launching hypersonic missiles into Tel Aviv in Israel. Whole heap of things is happening. They're planning most likely to engage Iran in war. We see gas war in Europe now. So World War III is underway. But we're asking the question, has Africa turned the tide? Are we now going to be able to unify the continent rapidly so that we can play our role, as His Majesty has said and commanded, in averting the full destruction? We can't stop the war from unfolding because it's already started. You know what I mean? The third Holocaust has already started. Million plus have died all over in Ukraine. Yes, we know there are Africans dying in the Congo and other places, but why I focus on the European theaters, because these ones have the power to stop these African contents. They're the ones funding. So we go to the head of the stream. This is why His Majesty didn't send invitations to, you know, all of the tribes of Africa, because a lot of them were under bondage at the coronation. He sent it to the world powers who were in control for them to send the representatives, because that's how you get things done. So when we talk about the European theaters, not to neglect the wars in the global south, but acknowledging that the funding and the financing for these wars is coming from that global north that is now embroiled itself in a war against each other. So I asked the item, has the time come? Is Africa maturing to the level where the sellouts among us are no longer going to be able to prevail, and the African unification that was established in Addis Ababa will proceed, and the unity of Africa, the great return is happening. We talked about that. We showed that 534 receiving citizenship in Ghana. They have now opened the borders. The sellouts are now being exposed in Burkina Faso. The tide is sweeping. Foreign troops are being expelled. What are we looking at, family? Is this the great repatriation? I say yes. I'm preparing myself and my family to return. What are the items doing? Drop the comment below. Let us know. Let us have the reasoning. Rastafari Independent Non-Aligned Media is here. First show for the 2025. And we are coming out firing for repatriation. We now leave this fire. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion's Voice.
Yeah. Well, Haile Selassie the first and the Almighty. Well, this is the DEJAZMATCH Posse. Well, I chanting for the black family for eternity. Then, time to fly. I don't care about your 9 to 5. Together we can soar across the sky. We not no more, give this love a try, no. Well, it's time to fly. Babylon cannot be satisfied. Together we can soar across the sky. Through the powers of the Trinity, here far right end. Well, then I can see you struggling. In a rubber Babylon, troubles them doubling. Every day you get up, every day you be hustling. Life is not a circus, tired of the juggling. Well, then it's time to rise. Tired of going to your 9 to 5. Every day you find yourself a fantasize about you and your king under African skies. So then it's time to fly. I don't care about your 9 to 5. Together we can soar across the sky. We not no more, get this love a try, no. Time to fly. Babylon cannot be satisfied. Together we can soar across the sky. Powers of the Trinity, here far right then. Well, I know you're full of trauma, slave to consumer, consume the drama. Not a wife, not to be a baby mama. Tired of that life, now come back, we move a Ghana. Maybe Botswana, maybe Angola. Let's get married, stay together, growing older. Wanna have some babies, we can push our baby's stroller. Lion of Judah, government, they on them shoulders.